Well, days after the government cut the excise duty on petrol and diesel, states are starting to follow through. Gujarat and Maharashtra have cut the value-added tax or VAT on petrol and diesel, but not many states are willing to play ball. Kerala has refused to cut VAT on fuel, and reports suggest even some BJP-ruled states may have declined to cut VAT. On the Editors' Roundtable today, we discuss the tax on fuel and throw light on which states benefit the most from taxes on petrol and diesel. Prashant is here now with the details. Prashant, on the face of it, Maharashtra's ₹2 VAT reduction on petrol looks generous, but could it have done more, as in fact it tops the list of states with the highest VAT rates?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Maharashtra is right there, top of the list, and by a mile. I mean, just take a look at the numbers which put this in context. Maharashtra collects 48% as VAT. I mean, this is by far the highest. I mean, the first is petrol and the second is diesel. And I've basically sorted the states. I've not included union territories in this list. Union territories would be, I mean, smaller consumers of fuel, and they're also lower in rate. But I've considered all states, and Maharashtra tops the list, as I said, by a mile. The second on the list is Andhra Pradesh, at about 39%. I mean, the corresponding VAT on diesel is next to it. Madhya Pradesh is at about 39%, Punjab at about 36%, Telangana at about 35%. The ₹2 cut in Maharashtra, which has been announced, I mean, if you take that as a percentage of what fuel sells, what petrol sells at the pump here in Maharashtra, I mean, that would work out to something like 2.5%. I mean, so while, the cut is not a percentage cut, it's a ₹2 cut per litre, it's basically 2.5% cut. And the total VAT amounts to almost 48%. I mean, I think that gives us some sort of sense of where we are. I didn't put the states which collect the least amount of VAT, but they are basically, the northeastern states, the eastern states, and of course, I mean, a couple of North Indian states as well. But the big bulk, the top five, are Maharashtra, Andhra, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, and Telangana. Now, let's just take a look at where states actually get their revenues from, and this will give us some perspective on how much scope there really is for states to actually be able to cut, VAT on fuel. I mean, this is how it breaks down. So states' own tax revenue is about 47%. The share in central taxes, they get about 24% from that. Central grants, another 20%. And their own, states' own non-tax revenue is about 9% or so. So by far the biggest head is that first item, which is 47% own tax revenue. Let's split that 47% a bit more. So, I mean, that graphic shows that 50% of the revenues is own tax revenue, but 50% of that 47% is essentially from value-added tax. I mean, I think, even if you take that, I mean, that would top the list of a single source of revenue for states. And I think that is where, in a way, the problem really lies. How much scope do states really have in a year like we are in right now to be able to actually cut taxes on fuel? Back to you.
Okay, Prashant, appreciate you joining us and giving us the VAT